Hello, good evening, or good day, depending on where you are. My name's Kai, your fellow Highlander enthusiast and mod creator in training. So, you want to know how to mod in Final Fantasy 14. Don't know where, and you don't know where to start. Well, look no further. I'm here to help. Well, to an extent. But anyways, back on topic. There are multiple ways you can modify Final 14. You can port stuff from other gear from other you can port stuff from other games into Final Fantasy 14, for example, all this cool stuff. Or take take parts from existing game in Final Fantasy 14 and combining it with other parts, known as mashups. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'll show you how to port stuff from other games into Final Fantasy 14. So, you want to get started in porting stuff from other games into Final Fantasy 14. Well, there are some stuff you need beforehand before we can get started. First and foremost, we'll need some sort of 3D modeling software. Blender is primarily used by a lot of people, but there are other options such as 3ds Max and Maya. However, I don't have much experience with those type of software, so for the sake of this tutorial series, we'll be using Blender. The second most important file is the model itself. There are multiple ways you can get models online. You can get models through Bilibili, a Chinese website, a Blue Roll, a Japanese site. But for the most part, we'll mostly be getting it from DeviantArt with links to Google Drive, Mega Drive or something. I don't know. But anyways, yes, but that's what you need. You need a model that you want to port. There are some restrictions. Blender doesn't have a lot of option when it comes to importing models because models could come in different formats. You have .fbx, .xps, .mmd, and so on and so on. So sometimes we'll need to install a plugin in our Blender to allow us to import stuff into and import different files formats into Blender, and allow us to manipulate stuff. In case the file you've downloaded is not naturally supported by Blender, I'll show you how to install plugins into Blender. So take for instance this project I'm currently working on. It's a port of Grimjow's Alpha outfit from Jump Force. And to scroll down real quick, the person mentioned that this model is XPS. And Blender doesn't naturally import XPS model. So in this case, we'll have to do some quick Googling for any XPS plugins for Blender. And here we have it. So if you click on this link, we'll install XPS and link to another, I guess, tool. Yeah. And then you click on this, download it. So it'll download some zip file. So after that finishes downloading, you'll head on over to Blender, right? Close this. Blender, preferences, add-ons, and in this case, install, and then search and go to wherever you download the zip. Sometimes it's mostly in XP downloads folder, and search up the name of your zip file. Let's say XPS. I guess this one. So, oh, it's not that one. Anyway, let's say it is that one. So I'll click on install add-on, and assuming it compiles successfully, it'll redirect you back to this window and it should pop up somewhere. And if you click that check mark, it'll appear on the side somewhere. And that would mean we'll be successfully import XPS models into Blender. The same applies to the FBX, the MMD, and so on. Well, before we get started, the first rule of modding is to not talk about modding. Modding is considered illegal against TOS, so if you're caught red-handed, you will be banned. This is your first and final warning. Alright, so now that we have our plugin installed, let's get started and import our model into Blender. So what we'll do is press A and it'll delete everything. A is select all, and X is for deletion. Delete this as well. And let's see, XPS, import model. And in this case, I'll be showcasing this model right here. Let's see here, Maria Winter, XPS, and click import. And here we have the model. This so in Blender we have different ways to view our model. So here's wireframe. This is viewport shading. This default, no diffuse any colors, and this one is with our materials. And sometimes whenever you import a model, it'll look like this monstrosity right here. There are different ways to resolve that issue. One way that I There are two ways that I know. So first way is this can be very tedious sometimes, but if you go under here, click on your mesh or any part of the model, right? And click on this little circle thing, red circle thing, and go under settings and change the blend mode change it to alpha clip. And there we go. It fixes itself for the most part. You may need to click on backface culling in case there's any errors. But what I do is there's this plugin that I use called Meek Tools, and using it fixes fixes the materials in viewport shading. And it's really useful. Just click on the button and ta-da! I have a link to the plugin if you're interested in installing that. All right, so here we have our model. Before we get started, we have to think about something. Which part of this model do we want to port over to 14? Let's say we want to port this hat right here, this hat. So as you can see, this hat is made up of the hat itself and the decorations. However, if you notice, if I click on the hat, it's highlighting this as well. It's part of the model, and we can separate it into its own mesh. So if we click on this and then click tab, and we can, if you do C, this is be our circle select, and as you can see, it'll circle everything. If we do Control L, this will gather all the vertices or meshes that's connected, and do that. See as everything is connected. Oh, sorry, one more thing. In case when you do Control L, it doesn't select everything, you can click on toggle X-ray and allow you to select vertices or faces that are not visible. So I can see we have selected all the hat. And if we press P, we can separate by selection. So I could do that, Control P, and go back to object mode. We can see that the hat is separate from the cape where it was attached to. So now if we can do the same thing about these decorations right here. Control L just in case. P. And do the same. Oh, no, never mind. Did, did, okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, so that's been separated, and click on this one as well. Now, this separation process can vary from model to model. So sometimes it can be very easy, sometimes it can be very hard. Sometimes, ugh, MMDs especially. Let me do that, and then Control L, and then P. Okay, so now we have separated the parts of the hat that we'll want to use. Yes, okay. So now what you can do is if you want to, you can select the mesh or yeah, you can select the mesh or go under your scene collection over here, click on the armature, and sometimes it'll display all the meshes that are available. So we can do like Control H, hide that, hide this, hide that, hide that. Or what you can also do is do a box select. Essentially, hold your left mouse button, drag it, and it'll highlight everything. Mostly highlight everything. You can do whatever you want. In this case, let's hide it. And so I hid everything. You can unhide stuff by either clicking on this eyeball here or doing Control Z or I believe Alt H. Yep, Alt 8, which will unhide everything from the looks of it. But let's say for the sake of this example, uh, let's oh, armature. sometimes meshes can be very small. Let's see here. I think I'm missing something. No. Alright, just use one. Alt H. So, okay. So after you select the piece that you want to work on, what I like to do is most models will come with in-game bones, or someone, the person who made the model made a rig of their own. So what I like to do is go to object data properties. It's the green triangle. Click on this little arrow right here and remove delete all unlocked groups. That way we can do weight painting later down the line. That, and also remove the, if it has an armature, which most likely it will, you can click on this X near the object area, and it's basically a clean slate. Repeat this for the any other pieces that you want to port, or what you want to work on. Oh, that's the, okay. So we got clean, yeah, clean parts. So a thing about models is that um this is being displayed by textures, and sometimes um textures come in different parts. So you would assume that this entire thing is entire one texture, but no, it's different textures. So if you click on your mesh and then go over to UV editing and select and press A, it should display which texture it belongs to. So in this case, it belongs to this texture. However, let's go back to layout, and let's say click on this mesh right here, UV editing. We can see that it belongs to this mesh. So it's kind of separate. So you have to pay close attention, because that was my first mistake when when I first tried to port this piece. God, it's headache. Pain. So pay close attention um, to see which mesh has what material. You can join it all together. So when it comes to scaling and making sure the parts fit, we can join these together. So you can either click and then shift click, shift left mouse and click, and then click this, and do control J, sorry, and it will be one entire mesh. And as we can see in this material properties, we have the hat material and the accessories material right here, all joined into one. Yeah, there's that. I'll show you a what I usually do, like a clean model, like removing all the skins and stuff. This is what I usually do. So after that, I would sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So after you do that, so say let's take this hat. Okay, so we need to deparent it away from this armature. So how we do it is hold this and then hold shift and alt, hold shift to deparent, to drop the parent. Sometimes it'll like go backwards because it no longer has a parent. To fix that, you control Z to, so you do the same thing, hold and then hold shift, and sometimes you'll need to hold alt as well to keep the transformations. Just like that, and then drag it out one more time, and there we go. It's out of the original armature group thing here. So with that, we can delete this entire thing. We don't need it anymore. So how we do that is right click, and then delete hierarchy. So this will delete everything under that collection. So we do that, it's gone. And what I usually like to do is organize it, and this will be helpful. And I'll show you why it's helpful when we're getting uh, working on the model. So right click and click on new collection, and I just like to name it to the piece. So in this case, it'd be hat, and then drag it in there. And after you've done that, you can go File, Save As, and then save it to whatever folder, name it whatever, and then that part is done. All right, so now that we finally separated our meshes into separate parts, what we'll do now is scaling the our outfit to FF14 FF14 size. So what we'll do is um, do append. So go over to File and click Append, and go to wherever you save your file. In this case, uh, Clean Maria, and in here we can select whatever folder that our Blender file contains. So in this case, we'll want to go to Collection. This is where we store all of our objects and stuff. And so let's say we take the chest, okay? Take the chest and click Append. Append, essentially, we're grabbing a copy of something, of a Blender file into another Blender file, and whatever we do on here will not affect the original. It's quite useful. So we got our chess piece right here, right? Now, there are plenty of Blender kits on XMA, 8th Link, look around. But what I like to do is use Ray's Blender kit, and this contains most of the body and vanilla outfits, not outfits, bodies, and it's really useful. So let me go to wherever I saved it. It's Blender stuff, and go over to here. And if you are using Ray's kit, it can be a little bit daunting sometimes, but go search for which race you want to port your gear to. Um, most gears have a midlaner body, so you would search for TBSC or TBSCX or TBSC chunks mid torso, right here. But in this case, I'm more of a Highlander specialist, so I would search for TBSC torso right here. And so what we'll do, it'll append it and load in a, oh, what the, oh, okay. I mean, that works. I expected, okay. All right, so sometimes your sometimes your target mesh will be too big or too small for the F14 size. Because I remember working with a specific mesh when I first started, and it was like humongous, and I had to scale it down. So if your mesh is either too big or too small, you have to scale. So to scale it, you click on your mesh and select S for scale. It'll act weird sometimes, but um, I don't know what the problem with this thing is. Uh, but yeah, you scale up, scale down, and once you finish scaling it, you'll want to go to Object, Apply. Before I do that, sorry. Um, you see, whenever I scaled it, it scaled to 1.209. Blender likes it when everything is even, like zero. All the location, rotation, zero, scale zero, not scale zero, scale one, all that stuff. I don't know why. I'll probably need to research that later on. But yeah, so what you want to do is object and apply. You can apply location, rotation, scale, or all of it. So in this case, I'll apply all transformations just in case. There. And then let me check the UV in case anything goes wrong. Nope, it's still the same, thankfully. All right, now that's out of the way. Um, I had to say, So after you finish scaling, right? Control Z. Uh, finish scaling. Sorry. Before you scale, you want to align it. No, after you scale, you want to align it as best you can um to the body. So in this case, you can um so there are different camera movements. So we have these like this 360 camera movement. It can be useful sometimes. And then we also have the preset viewpoints. So this can be sides, the other side, and so on and so on. So in this case, to move, you can press G. And if you only want to move in a certain axis, you can press G and then X, which will, uh, but excuse me. Okay, so G and then Y. This case Y is moving that way, and then GZ. Nope, GZ is moving up and down. I don't know why GX is not working. That's so weird. Let me. Oh, okay. Sorry, GX is moving this way. My bad. Okay. Let me see if we can. It's GY. Okay, so roughly, if you've done that, if after you finish aligning it roughly, what you can. This is does not like me for some reason. Okay, let's call it there. So now the next step is sculpting the outfit to the body itself. So there are different ways. Each outfit is different. For skin tight um, materials, not materials, meshes. Um, okay, wait. Oh boy. Yeah, there are a lot of tools at your disposal. Okay, but what I like to do sometimes is go to sculpting, zoom in, and go to yeah, click that, and go to elastic deform, and essentially this will allow me to grab any part of the mesh and move it essentially. This can have its drawbacks sometimes because some models can have, you know, uh, different different parts underneath. It can be frustrating sometimes. Another way is by doing. It's kind of tedious, but if you click on the mesh and then go to edit mode tab, in this case, um, tab, and then click on proportional editing. This will ensure that whenever you move stuff, it's in you know proportions and all that jazz. Make sure that this always need to be on. And you can select some sort of, let's say, select this group of vertices. So to move it, we can press G. And whenever you're in proportional editing, there's this thing called the circle of influence. This essentially shows how much um, of the mesh moves um, in within that circle. So if this circle is really big, it'll basically move the entire mesh. But if I were to reduce the circle of influence, it will only affect that part. So it can be really useful sometimes. So another method, this is useful for especially for skin tight material meshes. And so what we can do is go to the modifiers or this blue wrench right here, click on it, and then go to skin wrap, shrink wrap modifier. And what we'll do is click on the object that we want to shrink wrap it to. So we can either click on the mesh or search it through here, or click on this eyedropper Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. This right here, target, and then click on the torso. Um, in my experience, you'll want to either do target normal project and above surface. That is what I generally do. There can be different methods, and then offset is okay. This using the shrink wrap modifier deals in very small steps, so you don't want to go too crazy with it. So as you can see, the mesh is a little bit messed up. Shrink wrap isn't always the answer. It's I've used it once in another project, and it's useful for like very tight pants. But yeah, so there's that, and I'll get back to you once I finish scaling this outfit to the chest. Hey there, Kyron. Uh, so uh, So one more thing about when scaling your outfits, make sure whenever you try to scale it, don't scale it in object mode because your mesh will be attached to the point of origin, and that'll basically tell the mesh where the ground is. And if you try to scale it, it'll scale from the point of origin. You don't want that. So what you're gonna do is go to edit mode, and then select all of your mesh. So A, and then scale it. Then you can scale it. Where's that? Yeah, just wanted to get that in there. All right, so now that we've successfully scaled our chest piece roughly to the size of, in this case, the Highlander chest, we'll begin the process of sculpting it to the chest. Sure this is on. Move it little by little because you don't because it'd be more equal in terms of scaling. You don't want to pull the mesh out too far because there are some other parts you might need to move. So yeah, there's that. You can enable 3D view to see while the parts are still covered. So what we can do is highlight all this, I think. Let me deselect that. So I want the top piece. And I'm gonna move it out just a wee bit. Yep, there we go. When it comes to chest pieces, you generally want some breathing space. Otherwise, it would cause a lot of clipping. But for the sake of sculpting, you want to at least to the body itself. Uh, And if you're having troubles, you can try to look inside the model to see what's still being clipped through the body. So I think that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Leave this out just a wee bit more. There we go. Shoulders are always gonna get me. Ugh, I hate dealing with that area. Oh no, that's too much. G, no, G Y, G Y. So Control Z is undo. I think redo is Shift Control Z. I think the default at least. Interesting. Okay, let me go back to 3D view. There we go. Go take. Let's see here. Yeah, that's fine. So you see, it's a lot of one vertex. See, it's a lot of picking like at least like two vertices and moving them. See these little, since we have proportional editing on, you see these little yellow lines here. It'll show what is connected to that vertex, and it'll move along with it. Okay. Let's see what else. These will always give me trouble. Let's see here. Got to move that down here, I think. I don't know. Let's see how the top part looks at least. I think that's more from this view. Changing angles whenever you're sculpting it really helps. See which way you need to pull the vertices at. Let's see what else. this up. Go. This out. Speed bit. Let's see. That part out. Oh dear. I don't like that. No, that's the last one. That's a little bit stretched, but that's all right. There we go. Roughly, give or take. Actually, let me, since I still deal. Right, that doesn't look right. So that part is supposed to go more downish. Yeah, it looks fit based on our targeted body. I think that's a little bit better. Yeah, I think. That's all right, I suppose. Cool. Okay. Turned out well. Is any more clipping? Yeah. So there are different selection modes. So you have vertex, edges, and faces. Faces are basically whole entire triangles. Lines, edges are like the lines that are connected, and the vertexes are the individual points. You'll have to mix and match which type of face selection you want to choose when sculpting. But I think I can get away with using freaking move that up just a wee bit. Yeah, so looks okay. It may not be perfect, but it's okay. Now what we're gonna do is on the opposite side. Well, actually, turned out not too bad. First time I did this, it was absolutely horrendous. Oh god. Okay. Turn back on X-ray. Okay. Okay, I think the last time I did it on the other side, I gotta move that part down. Yeah, I gotta move. That over to cover the armpit line and then bring it down. There we go. Roughly, give or take. Yeah, that works. And then I gotta adjust the holes. That part out. There we go. Part out. I think I'm not entirely sure. Let's see. I can move this piece down just a wee bit. Ooh, okay. Yes, that kind of solved the issue. Yeah. Okay, I'm getting a little bit better. Solving these short outlines. All right, let me move these in just a little bit, so there aren't too many gaps. And that should be good, I think. Yeah, small clipping, but that's right. Oh, where's that appearing? Hmm, All right, so now, so the sculpting is done, roughly give or take. I could, my next thing I would need to do for this chess piece is to kind of deflate the boob area and then sculpt it to make it more like a main appearance, but that's for a later time. All right, that is done. All right, so now that we finished sculpting our chess piece, the next step would be to weight paint it. Weight paint is basically we're transferring the, the data from our chess piece or any mesh onto another one, and it basically tells how something moves essentially. And so what we want to do, um, we'll want to duplicate um, a copy of our original. In case something goes wrong, we can repeat it or fix some parts up. And so for this chess piece, it primarily deals with the torso and the neck. And so to duplicate, you need to do Shift D and then left click, and then you want to do J, Control J for join. So we'll just name this weight. So after that, to weight paint, to transfer weight, sorry, to transfer weights, we'll want to click on the chess piece and then click on the sculpted outfit and then go over to weight paint. So then your um, mesh should turn blue. Um, to make weight painting a little more easier, I suggest going over to the active tool and workspace settings when you're in weight paint and go under symmetry and click on X. Um, I'll also click on this one as well. You can also do auto normalize, but we can do that. We can do it ourselves later on. So I'll leave that unchecked for now. So what we're gonna do is weights, transfer weights, then click this little menu right here, and click on where it says vertex mapping. We need to change it to nearest face interpolated, and change the source layer is selected to by name. So once we click out of that, and go back to object mode, and then click on our mesh, and then go back to weight paint, we'll see and go to the object data properties. We see here are the vertex groups or the bones of our mesh. And select, it'll show you like different areas where their mesh is affected. So since we're using Ray's Blender Kit, it comes with an armature that has mods, or it's not mods, animation baked into it, so we can test it without needing to, going like porting it into 14 and testing in-game logging out on the side. It's very tiresome. So this is really useful. So if we click play, right, we can see this is to test if there's any clipping or if we fix any pause it. Looks okay. It's not the best, but it looks okay. Oh, right. So this, when you open Blender, you'll get this bottom area. This is called the timeline, and Ray's armature is not 250 frames long. It's more like 2,000 frames long. So you change that, and it'll play everything. Honestly, it doesn't look half too bad. Oh, if we can also zoom out. Let me do that. There was some minor clipping. Yeah, right there. You see? Right there. So if you want to adjust some weights, you'll go back to weight paint and go to vertex groups or your object data properties, and you have to scroll through the list to see where it's happening. So in this case, shoulder areas can be quite tricky sometimes because there's a lot of influence. So you have, I'll link the textiles in the description, and it'll provide you which bones belongs to what section of the body. So Enhakata is the shoulder twist. It's not the entire arm. It's primarily only the shoulder. Let's see here. Jude is, I believe, the clevis, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong though. um, what's causing this to? I mean, there are ways to deal with clipping skin. You can wet paint it yourself, or if you're feeling a little bit, the lazy way is to remove any, because since this chest piece covers some amount of body, we can go into, actually let me duplicate this first and hide that. We can see that 3D, the chest piece covers some part of the body, so we can remove any hidden skin to save us the time. Let's see here. So for example, let's say since we don't see much of the waist, we can remove that. Don't remove too much. Oh, that's a little bit too much. Oops. Go back to frontal view. Do box select. It should be a little bit better. Yeah. Actually, I need a lower the bottom part a little bit more. Yeah, come on. There we go. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna delete it directly. I'm gonna separate it. Yeah. And then, uh, uh, hmm. Is that? Yep. Too much. Oh. Well, this can be a little bit. that too much? Yeah, it's too much. Oh, I could always cover that little gap with the fillet. Um, you can also deselect by holding Shift and left click. And let's see, and let's test the motion. Yeah, as you can see, the skin is really all sorts of messed up. Let's see how this moves. Yeah, it's some weird stretching. This happens sometimes. Ugh, I kind of hate it. It happens. Wait, I think I saw some clipping. Yeah, that's is that the oh, which part of the body is clipping? Oh, is that the? Eh? Wait, I thought I. Huh? Oh wait. Oh, was I using the wrong? Oh, I was using the wrong body. Whoopsies. Oh boy. No, I was using the right body. I'm a dumb butt. Well, I am kind of a dumb butt. So yeah, the weight painting is probably the longest process of pulling stuff over. So yeah, what I'll do is since we're done with the weights, I can delete that. And right, zero. Yeah, okay. So this is the chess piece I want to try working with. All right, so basically got to do all that all over again. Oh my gosh. Oh, I think yeah, this mode's a little bit more bearable, I suppose. All right. So we can't see the tummy at all. At least this part of the tummy. Even lines. That's fine, I suppose. It's for the back. Right, since most of the back is covered, we can delete most of it. And then for this part, let's say and now let's go back to object mode. Let's see if it does any more. See, the clipping is mostly gone if we use. Yeah, that bottom part is gonna kill me. Ugh. So that's one way of dealing with that issue. Another way is by, let me write this. Wait, is the clipping also appear on the other side? The clipping does, sometimes the sides don't weigh equally. Gets a little bit frustrating sometimes. Yeah, there's some minor clipping on the other side as well. What's up with that? Oh, I'll have to fix that. Separate that. You don't look too closely. You don't see the issues. Let me go back to object mode, click on the mesh. Some minor clipping. Yeah, this isn't weight painted. Transfer weights aren't 100% accurate. Aside from weighing the body, you can also grab items from text tools that closely resemble your outfit, and then transfer weights. That's also an option. But another way you can so another tiresome way to deal with this is by fixing the weights in the affected areas. So if we um, arm cross show any, this motion doesn't show any clipping, but yeah, there's some clipping on the. So I don't know too much about the process of fixing weights, but in Hakata. So there are different modes of um, adjusting weights. What I usually do is either do draw or um, mix. I'm not. I'm not the. I don't quite understand weights that much, so this part's gonna be a little bit scuffed. Mix. Oh, doing that makes it worse. Oh, there we go. Sort of solved the problem. Sort of. Fix that, but it was only clipping other areas now. Oh no, it actually worked kind of fine. What basically you need to do is you play it. I guess I saw some clipping. Yeah, some part right there. So I believe it's on the other side. So N Hakata R. Now we find N Hakata L. N Hakata. Yeah, this area, and then basically do the same thing. No, definitely not doing that. Sometimes it can be very panicky. Sometimes it doesn't pick up the. No. Yeah, but still some clipping. Oh, that's a lot of clipping. Holy crap. Yeah, these shoulder points, like shoulder weights, are crap troublesome, I'll say. For now, I. Okay, so it's not. I don't think. Let me try. JBB. It's JBA. No. JBC. Kind of fixed the problem. Kinda. Shit. Yeah, it's not perfect by any means. So after you fix the clipping issues to the best of your ability, oh god, that's morphing really badly. But then for the sake of this, we're gonna go too perfect. It works, I suppose. So after that, what you want to do is go to weights and then normalize all, and then limit total. Because whenever you try, the way text tools work is that there can be only so many weights per vertex, and if you have more than like 4, it'll readjust it. So if you do beforehand, you won't get as much errors. I necessarily don't understand uh, too much about the errors, so take it with a grain of salt. Ask other people. All that stuff. Yeah, God, it's like deformed so badly. All right, technically that is all done. So, assuming you're using Ray's Blender kit, what we want to do is first attach the mesh's armature to the armature to the target armatures. In this case, it'd be this one. And then since we're technically done with all this, we can. What I did is click and then shift click and delete. So yeah, there's that. And is that what we want to do is basically drag everything in here, drag parent everything to this armature right here. So what we're gonna do is then hold shift and hold alt just in case. If this happens, you have to do it again. And yeah, there we go. Chest. And let's clear this animation data. Oh. Alright, so now that you have everything parented, what you want to do is before you do anything, when it comes to porting stuff, there are some naming conventions. So the main naming convention is some name part whatever number. The part 1.0 part number is really important. Part 0 is usually reserved for the skin. So you see here 0.0, 0.1, all that stuff. So think of 0 as like the main category and point 1 are the sub categories. So when you this will be more apparent when we head into text tools, but this all belongs in the same main category. And after that, any other um, any other meshes will be on on a new part. So I can name this one. So I named this top part 1.0. And yeah, that should be. I normalized it. Oh yeah, normalized all. Yep. All right. So that's done. We parented. Now the next step would be to export it. So file, export as FBX. Text tools, to my knowledge, only accept FBX. and then save it wherever convenient. In this case, make sure to change this to X and change this to Y. And then name it whatever, in this case, Test Maria Chest or something. And that's it. Sorry, I forgot one more important thing about before you import stuff into 14. Oh, really important. So after you finish sculpting it and weight paint and whatnot, what you want to do is go to edit mode, select all, and do Control T to triangulate your model. Otherwise, text tools will throw a huge fit. So make sure to triangulate your mesh first before you export it as FBX.